Do you want to ask me a question?
I don't have any questions.
Sajid has one question,
Yeah, alright, why not? What do you do when you realise that nothing external, I guess, is going to satisfy you or make you happy? Yeah.
That's actually a good thing to notice. If someone can notice that in their life, wherever they are at, that's actually a very good thing to be aware of. Because this is what Buddha was actually trying to say, that he showed us that all these things that we acquire externally or just pleasing our senses will not bring that true happiness to you, that you're searching. And he pointed out, if you really want to have happiness, and if that's what you're after, that it comes from purification of your mind. It's directly, what do you call it? Inversely proportional, no? Is it inversely when this increases, the other one increases? There is another one. Huh? Is it correct?
Well, that's directly. That's directly.
Yeah. So, more you purify your mind, that means more you develop your goodness and your wisdom, more you derive happiness. And that's what Buddha was showing. If someone wants to have real happiness, if they want to experience peace of mind in their lives, this is what someone has to do. So if someone realizes, by doing all these things that we've been doing normally, studying, working and finding a good job and getting a good salary, having a girlfriend or having a husband or wife or having children, having a couple of houses, even having the car that you really wanted and everything. They're external things. We acquired them while we were chasing our desires. We just satisfied our desire. And the thing about satisfying desires is, you seem to be only satisfied for a few minutes, maybe a few hours, maybe a few weeks, not longer than that. So then again you feel the dissatisfaction, because that hasn't really satisfied, that hasn't really given you what you were looking for, so you chase something else, hoping doing that I will get happiness, hoping if I upgrade that will satisfy me, or hoping if I have more that will satisfy me. So we keep chasing, but we never find happiness in that way. This is why Prince Siddhartha gave up the princely life, because he realized nothing actually satisfies him. Nothing really brings that real happiness. So that's why he wanted to find a way how to do this, how to really find the happiness, and how to free ourselves from its death. So if one really wants to find happiness or the satisfaction, then the way to go is take time to purify your mind. So in that way, when the goodness and wisdom develops, you will be very happy and content. Because the happiness that comes through when you meditate or when you do good thing, a good deed, when you develop patience, when you develop loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, when you practice these things, naturally it brings a lot of happiness to you. When you become so selfless, when you do things selflessly, you gain happiness. So the key is, engage in selfless acts. Like if this is a personal thing that you want to find out. And this is actually why nowadays a lot of people get depressed, because they find now from outside they have been chasing everything and they have managed to, use their credit card and get everything. But they are still not happy, so people start to get depressed then. Because they are not happy with whatever they have, no matter what they have. So it's so relevant for today's, what's going on, what Buddha taught. Because when you understand this, if you give it a try to practice the Dhamma, then you understand there is another kind of a happiness and that contentment that keeps building in yourself just by purifying your mind and developing your wisdom. More we become selfish and do things, we become more unhappy. So if someone is actually depressed in that way, that they are not interested in doing anything, they are so fed up of everything, they are so unhappy, the first thing to get them out of that state is to encourage them to act in selfless activities, like go to a charity and help others without expecting anything back in return. Just go and, practice. Give what you have, donate. Your time, your effort, your energy, your thoughts, your ideas, your money, whatever. Be there for the others. And then slowly in that way you can derive happiness. Like, I think I may have told you this story, that one of my devotees who is he was studying at Peradeniya Uni in Sri Lanka. They came from a very poor family. He came from a poor family and they didn't have much money to dispense. So I guess here, when you go to uni, you take money and go to the canteen or the tuck shop, and then you go and buy whatever you want. But in Sri Lanka, the poor people actually, to save money, what they do, they cook at home and they pack the lunch packet and they take it with them and they just eat that. Some people also do it for the health matters as well, because it's more healthy to eat from home, so even the others do it. But a lot of the poor people didn't have money to go to the tuck shop, so they always had something from home. So this boy actually had his lunch packet with him to take to uni, and he was standing in the bus stand to catch the bus early in the morning, and someone, like very old person, like a beggar, he had come and asked for money. And then this boy had said, well, I don't have money, but what do you need? Why do you need the money for? And then he has said, well, I'm so hungry and I need to buy some food. So this boy had said, well, I don't have money to give you, but I can offer you my lunch. I have something for me. I can offer you that lunch packet. And then that man has said, okay. So he had given that lunch packet. And he said he saw, he didn't even go that far. He just sat somewhere in that bus station and he started eating. So he said, when he saw that, he was so happy to see how he could help someone. And throughout the day, after he's gone to uni, throughout the day, he said, every time when he remembered that incident, he was so happy and he wasn't even hungry on that day. He said he wasn't hungry at all. And every time he remembers that kind act, he was so happy. So if you had the money and you go and spend it and eat, or if you ate that lunch packet when you went to uni, That's about it. We eat, it goes to the toilet, and that's the end of that story. But see, when you do something with a loving, kind heart, it stays with you forever, and every time you remember, it brings happiness to you. And I'm pretty sure you may have had some similar experiences with you. I think you all had something, no? You all did something to raise some funds or to support something. Remember, you were fasting and raising money and all that?
The 40-hour famine.
Yeah, and you were saying, you were very happy and looking forward to it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So the others also may have something like that, and this is why actually a lot of people who engage in the charity work, they do it actually so happy and compassionate. They don't give up because they have tasted that real happiness that comes from that. Practicing your compassion, loving kindness. So be there for the others. If we are selfish, if we are only doing things to ourselves, myself, to my family, only to my friends and all that, just try to go beyond that boundary. Try to be there for everyone. Whoever comes to you, try to be at service or try to do something to change their life. That way you can find a lot of happiness.
To what extent, like, would that, because he, like, I admire him for doing that, but, like, if he was hungry, if he kept doing that every day, and a new homeless person, a poor person asked him, he wouldn't be able to eat, would he? So...
Actually, there is a nice story. Have you heard of Saint Benedict? Have you heard that name? So he is actually one of the saints in Christian religion. Apparently he was a very good person with a lot of loving kindness and compassion. That's why I guess they raised him to sainthood. So when Saint Benedict was in India, he had gone out walking in the street, and one man had come and said to him, look, I think he was shivering or something, that person, sitting in a corner, and then he was shivering, and apparently it was a cold night. So Saint Benedict has taken off his gown and put on him. And actually he had walked naked to the monastery. So that was the first incident. And then after a couple of days, now hearing that person's story, when Saint Benedict was walking, someone else had come and actually asked for a cloth. Said, I don't have anything, can I please have something? So he had taken that and given it to him. And second time he came walking naked. And then after that incident, his superior had called him and have said, I don't mind you giving it once. Actually, no, it happened 3 times. It has happened 3 times, and then the superior called him. And he has said, I don't mind if you gave it once, but now this seems like there's no end to this. And you're walking every day naked. And, we have to supply a new one every day. So Saint Benedict has said, I would rather stay naked like that when someone else is shivering, when someone else is facing the same. I would rather be like them. If you're happy to keep me naked in the church, I'll stay here.
But, like, wouldn't that be saying, I rather suffer myself than let someone else?
He didn't see it as suffering. It was so much happiness for him to give something to another person. See, when we donate the organs, you have to go through a huge amount of suffering, even just to donate a kidney. You know how many hours is the kidney transplantation operation take, or to take out a kidney? You just have to go through all these things. But for them, they don't see it as suffering. They see it as something that they are doing so happily, so they actually have a lot of happiness. It depends on how we look. So we look from our angle, oh, that person is suffering, but not really. They're happy to do it. Today, actually, someone was talking to me about, when they had the floods in Queensland, apparently it was showing in the TV that in the TV they have showed, when people had cuts and all that wounds, they have got infected because, the floods, they also had the sewage systems open to it, so there's a lot of microbacteria and everything, so even a small cut would infect. And it's a threat for your health. But despite that, people have been lining up, the queues have been there on the registration desk to go and help. They're just coming from other states, spending their own money to fly and bringing their own horses and this and that and put their boots. And they see what has happened to other people by trying to help, but they still go and do it. That's true compassion. Because they do it happily.
But it's not a solution.
Hmm?
It's not a solution, though.
But that's something that they could do. If they can't do anything else, they just do what they can do.
No, I mean,
But happily.
it's not a solution to, like, I mean, I've been volunteering for, I give up my weekends to do it. I mean, talk about homeless. I've lost count of how much money, thousands and thousands of dollars. It doesn't, why you're doing it's great, but then it doesn't fix your own problems, though.
Yeah, but why I took that example is, now for us to see someone actually, going through or doing something, and then there is a high risk of it for you to, be affected, but still they choose to go through it because they don't mind that they do it because they find happiness in that. For that I wrote that example. But if you want to find the real happiness by volunteering, by doing all this, it will not solve the problem. True. But when someone is that's why I use the word specifically. If someone is depressed, actually it's good for them to start like that because they are not active at that stage. When a person is depressed, they are more like reserved. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to go anywhere like that. So it's good for them to be active first. But this is where now the Dhamma comes. Now if someone purely intelligently, or if they understand that by trying to satisfy things or gaining the extra things, external things, material things, will not bring us suffering, if they understand it, with the understanding, then if they come across the Buddha's teachings, well, then there's the direct path, purification of mind. If you want to find happiness, purify your mind. Develop your goodness, develop your wisdom, and it's this. When someone becomes wise, actually, that's what world needs to solve problems. Because we can't eradicate suffering like, serving, like you were pointing out, what was it? A place for the people to sleep, no? People who don't have a home, homeless people. Working for homeless people or even working for any other charity will not fix the problems long term because these things will keep happening. But if someone practices the Dhamma, what happens? It shows the path for one to free yourselves from suffering, and not only that, then you can even teach to the other people to free yourself from suffering forever. All the other things are actually, they are temporary solutions, but sometimes we have to do it in order to give them at least temporary relief. When someone is suffering, we just can't say, oh, that's suffering, yes, and we just wait and watch. We try to relieve that pain and suffering, even for the extent, whatever the extent that we can help them. But the real way to find the freedom from suffering is actually through the Dhamma, practicing the Dhamma. That way you can eradicate it once and for all. Does that answer your question?
Not really, I guess, but
Hmm? Now there was an arahat who was walking in a forest with a guy walking behind him. So he was actually going from one place to another place. From one monastery, he had to go to another monastery, so he was walking. And then he saw this monkey who was trapped into a monkey trap. So he went and released him. And he kept walking. So the guy said, well, there's so many monkeys that must be trapped here. So why don't we go and release all? Come on, let's go. And the Arahat said, well, if something comes on my way, I'll do it. Otherwise, I have to be there for me to carry out the work that I have assigned to. So I have to go. But if anything comes on my way, I will do it. I won't leave it. You see, say in our lives, so because the Arahat knows, no matter how many monkeys you release today going through the forest, tomorrow the same thing will happen. The next day also the same thing will happen. There's no ending for us to actually find or help externally, because this process keeps happening. So the best way is to find a way to break the cycle and get out from that. And how to do it is through the Dhamma, because it shows you how to really free yourself from suffering, from all kinds of suffering. If we try to, help and get rid of the world poverty, we'll never be able to do it. And I think, there is a good book actually. It's called The Monk and Philosopher. Monk and the Philosopher. Have you all read? Any of you know? Matthew Ricard. The monk is Matthew Ricard. Have you heard of him? And the philosopher was his father. And Matthew Ricard was a scientist actually working on a project where they won the Nobel Prize. But halfway through that project, he left. But they knew they were pretty close to find a very significant finding. And then, anyway, he left and became a monk under Dalai Lama. So his father was a philosopher. And this book is about their conversation, and he's asking, why did you become a monk? You were a scientist and you were doing a research where you can bring so much change into other people's life. It could have made a big difference, and also you know it because even that won the Nobel Prize. Your team won the Nobel Prize. So he was asking, you were pretty on to help people, to do social service or to be there for the others. Why did you become a monk? So in that book actually he explains the whole thing. By that way we'll never be able to free anyone from suffering, because same thing will come and go, and you have to keep doing it. There's no ending to it. And he said, Dhamma is the best thing. Dhamma is the best medicine to cure all kinds of suffering. So I devote my life for that. And Matthew Ricard, he's a French guy. I don't know whether you remember, somewhere in 97, 98, 99, somewhere there, I think. There was a big article on The Age. They did a research on who is the happiest person on earth. And it happened to be a Buddhist monk. So it went headline, the happiest person on earth is a Buddhist monk. Because they did all sort of tested the brain and the chemicals and everything, and they kind of managed to measure the happiness. And Matthew Ricard was the one actually, that Buddhist monk. He was a serious meditator. So at that time, a lot of people actually started to open the eyes about Buddhism because, the millionaires, they have, in the sample, there was millionaires, actors, singers, normal people, everyone. But Matthew Ricard came the first. So it just showed how you can find the happiness. And at that time, actually, Ajahn Brahm used this particular incident to actually, tell people. And Ajahn Brahm's approach also, teach Buddhism in a way to say, this is the best way to find happiness. Go and search. It was in Age, I think, and if you search Matthew Ricard, I think, or if you get a chance, read that book, Monk and the Philosopher. It's a thick book, but it's very interesting. They exchange their experiences and all this and that. And it happened to be the monk was the son and the philosopher was the father. And the father actually is a writer, and he wrote the book. And he was also a very well-known writer. Any more questions? Sajid, can I ask the question? Did you just generally ask that question, or is it relating to a personal experience? If you don't mind.
I guess personal.
Okay. Are you meditating? Do you meditate or?
Yeah. Over the Christmas break, I spent 10 days in New Zealand on a retreat, and another 7 days here on another retreat.
Mm.
I've been on about 5 retreats.
Mm. So how do you find those experiences?
It I guess like on the other retreats I had, all the I guess all that like bliss and joy, you get all the bright lights and all you feel like you've taken to on these retreats, the last 2, it's sort of been, I could meditate for hours and nothing. It would just be blank, I guess, sort of. I don't know, I guess they're not, you can't expect to find, solutions, but I guess, it's something you need to keep doing, but I guess in the meantime it's sort of a struggle, because then, I guess until you kind of get some sort of breakthrough, you kind of still got to go through sort of day-to-day life, and
did you notice any lightness, any happiness, or some kind of a settled feeling, contentment?
Yeah, I've gone, I think I remember the first retreat I went on, it was I think it was about 8, 9, it was about 2 weeks actually. It was, I think I was waiting to get home and I was thinking of all the things I could eat and all the people I could see, and when I actually finally did get home, I sat down in a chair and yeah, it was like the first true feeling of contentment because I didn't need to go anywhere or move a muscle or see anyone or pick up the phone or do anything. I was completely happy just sitting there. Yeah, that was like a real, I don't think I'd ever felt happier than that point in time. But yeah, I guess, and during the actual meditation and things, yeah, I felt bliss and joy that comes, and like things that seem sort of out of this world and all that, but it still seems like a very small step, a very long journey, I guess.
Yeah, but that's the way to go. Like if you really want to find happiness and contentment, and that's actually the way. And something that can happen to you all is, when you all engage at work or with studies and everything, and if you have gone to the retreat, yes, the brain will start to compare whatever you're doing, actually not giving that happiness or contentment while you're doing it outside. So you're more propelled towards this side. Because you understand when you're going to be so happy and contented. You know that. So sometimes you can have a struggle in your mind, like a tug of war. One side says, no, I can't, I'm so busy, I can't go on a retreat, I can't do it. But the other half knows, I'm really happy and peaceful when I go on one. So I guess you have to find the balance and try to attend the retreats more regularly, then you will kind of get a more satisfied feeling. And I had that kind of tug of war when I was a lay person. Go to a retreat and then come back, you're so happy, it stays for a while, and then, it's like a battery drains out, slowly it drains out, and then you kind of realize you're missing something, and then all of a sudden you want to have that urge, want to go to another retreat, and then you go, and then slowly the frequency increases. More retreats you go, you can sustain it. Before that charge wears out, you go to another retreat and you can maintain. And that way, and then finally, I realized I also went to a retreat, and then in that monastery, they had a retreat in Sydney, and then it was only for 2 weeks I was there, and then, Bhante also said, stay for a bit longer. I actually was intended to stay another week or two, so I was there. And after that, Bhante said, actually stay a bit longer. I stayed. And then I never come back. Time got more and more because I realized this is what really makes me happy. So I thought, so what's the point having a big struggle out there? What am I trying to achieve there? Because I have a house the way I want, the house that I wanted to buy, I have bought. I have bought the car that I wanted. I have studied, so, what else do you want? And what can I take when I die? And even having all this also, I'm also not happy. So I thought, what's the point? And I didn't come back. If you can see the contrast, it's a good sign. But unfortunately, some people even without meditation, sometimes, after trying and doing everything, including the drugs, they realize they're still not happy. And unfortunately, no one is there to show them actually how to really find the happiness, so they get more and more deeper into, alcohol or to drugs, and at the end, the life is lost. They try to get that temporary happiness or the pleasure, but it comes with a big bill. There is a lot of side effects, and you have to pay the price, and you die ultimately very soon. And now I hear, I'm the Buddhist chaplain at RMIT, and we never heard this. When I was at uni, I never heard. Now, there is 2 deaths a month. I never heard. Our time, we never had any friend or anyone known died in the university, in that crowd. But now, apparently it's the pattern. Every month, at least 2. So chaplains are very busy there. So most of them are unfortunate ones, not the natural causes. After people feel that, they're not happy, then they get depressed if you don't get the proper help. The next thing is, try to end it by suicide. Or try the drugs, and it kills you naturally. Slowly, it kills you, without even you knowing. But if we can end our suffering by killing ourselves, well, probably, everyone would have done it, but we know that that's not the way to do it, because the monks actually who have developed their mind, they also have realized, not just because Buddha said, that even today we have people who have managed to recall their past lives. So we know this death will not end everything. We are going to be born again, so there's no point. You have to be born again with the same baggage. You have to go through the same suffering, maybe even worse. So the way to end the suffering is not really suicide in this physical body, dying with that, bringing the death in that way, but really to end the whole process. Then that's a real suicide. Because it ends the whole process, no more birth. And I find nowadays, I think, because of this advancement in technology and everything, and it has enabled us somehow that, when we have a desire, we can satisfy it quickly. And we keep doing it. And the desire's got no limits, it's unlimited, or it keeps coming, one after one. And you keep doing this, and sooner or later you realize, I'm still not happy. And I think I may have mentioned this before, like today in our society, there are a lot of people who are clinically depressed. It wasn't prevalent like this, about maybe 20, 30 years ago. But now if this trend is going to continue, statistics shows by 2050, 1 in 2 will be diagnosed as clinically depressed or mentally ill. They will have mental illness. Or what they are pretty much saying is a depressed society. And that's going to be pretty scary, to live with depressed people, live around depressed people, but this is the reason. they're realizing, you can't find happiness from outside, and they're experiencing that suffering and the realities of life, but unfortunately no one is there to tell them actually the reality of life is like that. Suffering is inbound, it's within us. The minute we are born, it's there. We just have to face it and then find a way actually to end it.
Would you say that the precursor to wanting to free yourself is depression, though?
To suicide?
No, I mean, like, it's only that you feel so dissatisfied that you realize that there's something wrong.
I didn't get it. Sorry.
There was a saying, I can't remember where, it was a philosopher or something, or someone said that the depressed were the more wise because they realised they were... I can't, it was something along those lines, but I think that's what you were getting at.
Yeah.
So Buddha actually says when someone is in a state like that, there's two things that can happen. One thing is they can get bogged down more and more and more, and the other thing is they can actually, they will be, if they can be so wise to find out what's the way out. And it helps them. It's like a turning point in life. They can use that situation to actually improve their life and really to get out of that situation. If you are depressed, quite normal, and then make use of it and try to find out why and then how to really end it. It's the Dhamma that works. That's the medicine. Like even if we take all these antidepressants and all that, they have a lot of side effects, and then you can't get out of it even when you want, and then you try to get out of it because with the drugs you feel you're quite normal, and then you try to get out of it, then the moods fluctuate from like this, and very difficult. So the natural way is to practice Dhamma.
The next question time.
Why me?
To put you on the spot.
I guess what I would ask is like, if you have people sort of in your lives that are going through tough times and like either clinically depressed or mentally, like say if it's a parent or a brother, like how do you sort of deal with that?
Okay. I think it will be a relief for you to know it's not only you who is facing this, many are facing this now. So the first thing is actually when you look at, or when you come in contact with that kind of situations, know that you are also prone to that. So protect yourself first. Try to do something to not to get into that situation. So it will allow you to actually help them without getting depressed. Something what happens when you're actually around these people, you also naturally get depressed, and it becomes very difficult, and it drains you a lot of your energy. So you have to be strong, you have to practice, and then you can help them and try to help them to be positive. The first thing, I'm not too sure, like if they're on drugs, just let them stay on the drugs, but help them to think in the proper way, because we think in the wrong way, we get depressed and more and more and more. So help them to think positively. You have to find the cause actually, where did that depression started, what actually really started to go wrong, or where they went wrong. With the reality, where they are not accepting the reality. You have to find that point. And then you work with that. try to teach them to think positively, not to see things in a negative way, but to always think positively, and they will slowly will come out. But you have to be very soft and gentle. You have to have a lot of patience. Then we can do that. Otherwise, if we get irritated, if we get angry, and then try to deal with the situation, it won't help. It will only aggravate the situation, because other people will get more depressed because they find it more stressful. When someone is depressed, they don't have much of a threshold to deal with things. Slightest or the smallest thing will break them down. So people who are around them have to be very careful, be supportive, be gentle, but first you have to practice and strengthen yourselves. Like, for someone to be a counselor, you can't just become a counselor. You have to do a lot of training. It teaches you how to protect yourself, how to not to take other things into you. We have to have that detachment when we practice, but if we do it with the family, if the situation is with the family, you still have to practice the same way, You have to recognize you have limits, and within that limitations you can try to help, and you do your best, but make sure you don't take them inside. You just teach them how to overcome their state, because you worrying or you becoming sad or anything will not help them anyway, isn't it? So you have to be pretty strong, pretty positive, stay with the Dhamma, and then help them. If there's depressed people, encourage them to go and actively work for a charity or to a temple. Just work. Do something with no expectations. Just take them with you. So when something inspires them, they will slowly start to do things. Because they will start to gain happiness through doing that. And that will help them. And now the scientists are saying, actually, the chemical it's not contributing to the depression in absence. When serotonin is absent or when it's in lower quantity, the depression happens. In a happy person, in a normal person, it stays, and when you're happy, actually the serotonin level increases. So they have found out it's the serotonin that's responsible for the depression. So they also have found out when people are enthusiastic about doing things, looking forward to do this, do that, and then the serotonin levels go up. Now depressed people are not interested in doing anything. So naturally the serotonin level, even the little they have, goes down. So try to inspire them to do something. Let them be enthusiastic about something. And then naturally it will slowly it will fix. Whatever they like to do. As long as it's done with a good heart for the others, there is a natural happiness that will come. And also help them to think logically, not emotionally. I think I have taught you all before about the emotions and the logical, rational thinking, yeah? Difference? Yeah. So you all have to choose to think rationally and not to be emotional and not to act emotionally. And then you have to teach it to the others as well. There's two different ways of living. You can live your life using your brain and using your rational thinking faculty, or you can just live with your emotions.
How do you try to separate the two though? Because someone who's going down an emotional path, it's sometimes hard to sort of switch your thinking from emotional to logical.
Yeah, this is why we have to create that habit. Whatever we do more and more, it becomes a habit. Now, what has happened is we are prone to go down the emotional path because of our attachment, because of sense of me, mine, because of sense of I, me, and mine. We are more prone to go down that path. But if you really want to get out from that, that's where the meditation helps. To really see, who am I? Is there anyone there? And that actually helps to lessen your attachments, your emotions, and all that. And then more you meditate, more clearly you will start to see this, and clearly it will clear the mind, and it will help you to actually think rationally. So that's why the meditation is so important. So try to do at least half an hour, 1 hour every morning. Try to practice at least metta meditation, the loving kindness meditation, or using your breath, or whatever that you feel comfortable. Reflecting on the realities of life, or reflecting on the 32 parts of the body. Whatever you feel comfortable with, but the metta will be the best in these situations. Keep practicing, because it will clear your mind. More clear your mind, more stable your mind is. Emotions won't have much of a hold. When your mind is not that clear, the emotions will drag you. In this path, I think I told you all must learn to relax and then meditate. Relaxation plays a big part. When people are stressed, depressed, you are not relaxed. You can see they are so tense. So first you need to physically help yourself by relaxing, either going for a walk or doing some exercises, and then meditating. And there's proven results. Now a lot of the psychologists or psychiatrists also, they use this methods that actually what Buddha had taught. They don't say it's a Buddhist thing, but they call it either ACT or whatever. It's detaching yourself from emotions, they call. And the other one is positive thinking. So this is all coming from these teachings. When you are emotional, try to see that emotion as in that ACT therapy. That's what they try to do. They try to tell the patient, try to be aware of the emotions and also know that it's not you. See that external thing, like you know it comes and goes. You know the moods come and go, so you know it's not really you. Then you'll be coming and going. So like that they are saying, notice them, let them be, make sure you have that distance. Separate it. Don't make it as yours. Don't own them. So that's how you detach it. You can start practicing that and see. And now you all can read a lot of these psychology books. There are a lot of psychology books. Art of Happiness, I think it was written by a psychologist. I can't remember. Or Happiness Trap. Actually, there's a very good book for you all if you're going through this, these experiences. There's a book called Happiness Trap, and in the middle of the book, there's this yellow sign with that smiley character. I can't remember who wrote it though. So try to read and see. It actually explains a lot of the methods that the psychologists are using. But he had written more using the Buddhist philosophy and trying to show actually where it matters and what happens and all that. So, then you can help your loved ones too. But make sure first you understand what's going on and how to detach. When you see an emotion now, when you see others are feeling sad or when you see they are going down, make sure, you understand about your mood. That you notice now your mood is also going down. That you're feeling sad. So you tag that feeling. And the minute actually you tag that feeling will not grow. And you make sure you notice that it's not you. It has just come and it will go. The minute you notice, it will go. But with the emotion, there is a bit of a problem if it risen a bit, if the emotion has been there for a while. Now, maybe I should try to explain to you the difference between the thinking is primarily using your brain, especially the frontal cortex. But emotion is not just the work of the brain, it involves the whole body. According to your thought, it sends a message to a gland in the brain, and now they have pinned down. The gland is called amygdala. And when it sends the message there, it releases the hormones to the bloodstream, according to whatever that message. And that's how the mood comes in, according to those chemicals in your brain.
Yeah, I kind of like heard like another monk say that explain it like that.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
this is what the scientific thing, and this is what actually Buddha had said, because Buddha was saying thinking is one kind of activity, emotions are a separate activity which involves the whole body. So can I finish what I was
Oh
going
yeah,
to say?
sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So what I was going to say, when you're dealing with the emotion, it's not just like a thought that when you notice it will come and go. If the chemicals are already in your body, you have to wait for a while for it to subdue. So either you sit and relax, or count your breath, take a couple of deep breaths. That's one good thing, because you're taking a lot of the oxygen. So it purifies the blood, and it helps you to come back to the normal. So keep doing that. When you notice an emotion, know that effect can be there for a while, so you just let it be and you carry on with your other work. Yeah, what were you going to ask?
I was listening to some audio tapes by have you heard of Bhante Punaji?
Yeah.
Because he explained it really well, like you did. But what he was talking about was that, like, based on the chemicals that are distributed throughout your body, that creates like tension.
Yeah.
So the what he describes as karma is kind of like the frustration in order to get rid of that tension.
Stress. And yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't really a question. Yeah.
It was something to support.
Yeah.
I actually got some Bhante Punaji series. Where did you get that?
Yeah.
Iman Uncle gave?
We listened to one of the talks during one of the group sessions in Saturday.
Yeah.
And then I got the CD. Not the one that I gave you actually. Same CD from someone else. And the link.
Yeah.
I think I must have forwarded that to most people.
Yeah, he has this website called Proto-Buddhism. And he is one of the monks. Actually, he's a treasure, because he has been practicing meditation while he was young, and then he continued, and he was also searching for something in life, and then after he became a doctor, he became a monk, and then he had to go to States, and then he did 2 PhDs, because he also had a very analytical mind. He was trying to understand what Buddha really taught. So he had done a PhD in philosophy and another PhD in psychology and parallel religion, which is the philosophy and parallel religion and the psychology and all that. So he had 2 PhDs. So he can actually explain in a language that we can understand, because we are more in tune with this. And to me, when I came across Bhante Punaji's teachings, like I also have been searching for the Dhamma when I was 10. I have been practicing and searching. So I had many teachers. I even have been to India and to Rishikesh and all that. And then after I met him, when I heard his teachings, I realized that his teachings are the ones that are actually closer to what